In the 1970s and 1980s, the two-wheeled world witnessed the arrival of a small but fearsome beast, the Yamaha RD350. A light two-stroke machine that could launch like a rocket, it delivered pure exhilaration, yet struck fear into anyone who wasn't ready to tame it. Riders gave it a name both mesmerizing and chilling, the Black Widow. And today, we'll relive the full journey of this legend, from its birth to its rise to glory, through the mix of fame and infamy, and finally to the moment it was forced to leave the stage. In 1973, Yamaha made a bold move that would forever change the landscape of middleweight sport bikes. They took the bones of the successful R5 and reimagined it into something sharper, faster, and infinitely more dangerous. The result was the RD350, a compact two-stroke twin displacing 347 cubic centimeters, packed into a lightweight frame that looked modest at first glance. But twist the throttle and all modesty was gone. This little motorcycle could surge forward with an intensity that earned it the nickname, a rocket on two wheels. For riders in the mid-1970s, it was unlike anything they had ever experienced. Europe had long been the stronghold of refined sport machines, with brands like Ducati and MV Agusta setting the tone. Yet, Yamaha, determined not to remain in the shadows, brought to the fight a machine that could go toe-to-toe with the Europeans, and in some cases, outrun them. The RD350 wasn't just about numbers on paper. It was about the feeling, the sudden surge of power as the revs climbed, the raw vibration of a two-stroke working at full fury, and the sheer exhilaration of knowing you were riding something that could humble far bigger bikes. For American riders, this wasn't just another import. It was a revelation. Affordable, accessible, and shockingly quick, the RD350 rewrote expectations of what a middleweight could be. It had a rebel spirit, a wild streak that made it stand apart from the heavier, slower machines of its day. And with that success, Yamaha laid the foundation for a new breed of sport bikes, machines that carried an attitude as fierce as their performance. By the dawn of the 1980s, the motorcycle world had shifted yet again. Riders were becoming sharper, more demanding, unwilling to settle for yesterday's thrills. European brands were pushing boundaries, Japanese rivals were gaining ground, and Yamaha knew it had to raise the stakes. The RD350 had already carved out a reputation as a wild, two-stroke missile, but now the time had come to refine the beast without taming its spirit. In 1980, Yamaha unveiled the RD350 LC standing for liquid-cooled, a crucial step forward in performance and reliability. This new system kept engine temperatures steady, allowing the twin-cylinder two-stroke to run harder and longer without fading. With heat no longer the enemy, the bike could endure the harshest demands of aggressive riding. But Yamaha didn't stop there. Engineers reworked the frame and suspension, creating a lighter, more agile chassis that clung to the road with a stability the earlier model lacked. Suddenly, the RD350 wasn't just quick in a straight line, it was sharper in the corners, more responsive under pressure, and eager to push deeper into its limits. Power remained at 347 cubic centimeters, producing around 47 horsepower. By modern standards, that might not sound impressive. But in 1980, when wrapped inside a frame weighing barely over 370 pounds, it felt like strapping yourself to a rocket. The LC had that same raw two-stroke snarl, that same rush of acceleration that left riders wide-eyed and breathless. For seasoned motorcyclists, the RD350 LC was pure joy, fast, fun, unforgettable. But for the inexperienced, it was treacherous. The abrupt power delivery, especially mid-corner, could snap traction in an instant and send the bike sliding out of control. It was thrilling, yes, but it was also a reminder. This machine demanded respect. By 1983, Yamaha's engineers weren't satisfied with simply having the fastest, wildest middleweight on the road. They wanted to push the boundaries further. to make the RD350 more refined, yet even more dangerous in the wrong hands? Their answer was a piece of technology that would forever change the two-stroke game: the Yamaha Power Valve System, or YPVS. This electronically controlled exhaust valve was nothing short of revolutionary. At low revs, it softened the bike's delivery, smoothing out the raw edges that had caught so many riders off guard. The LC suddenly felt calmer, more manageable, even civilized as you rolled through the city streets. But twist the throttle harder, climb into the upper rev range, and the Black Widow revealed her fangs. The valve opened, the motor howled, and the same 347 cubic centimeter twin transformed into a vicious animal, unleashing a surge of power that came on like an ambush. On paper, the numbers hadn't changed much. Still around 47 horses, still the same displacement. But the way it delivered that power was something entirely new. Yamaha had built a machine with two personalities: smooth and cooperative when you wanted it, savage and uncompromising when you demanded it. The chassis and suspension also received careful upgrades, giving the LC more stability when the speed climbed and the corners tightened. For the seasoned rider, it was the perfect blend. A motorcycle that could commute during the week, then turn into a fire-breathing beast on the open road or the racetrack. Yet the warning remained. In inexperienced hands, the YPVS-equipped RD350 was still lethal. The smoother delivery only made it easier for some riders to overestimate their skill, and when the bike struck back, it did so without mercy. The legend of the Black Widow was no longer whispered. It was shouted, and Yamaha had just given her sharper claws. By the mid-1980s, the RD350 had already established itself as a marvel of engineering. But alongside the praise came something far darker, a reputation built on blood and broken bones. The nickname Black Widow wasn't just a clever phrase dreamed up in a magazine headline. It came from the grim reality that too many riders never walked away from their encounters with this machine. People spoke about the RD350 with a mix of awe and fear. They called it a time bomb between your legs, waiting to go off at the slightest mistake. Others described it as a deadly snake, agile, beautiful, but merciless if you made a wrong move. These weren't just exaggerations. They were born from the countless accidents that stained the bike's reputation, especially among younger or overconfident riders who thought they could handle its fury. The formula was simple but lethal: explosive two-stroke power packed into a lightweight chassis. That combination made the bike carve through corners with astonishing speed. But it also meant the smallest miscalculation, too much throttle mid-turn, leaning just a degree too far, could send the rear wheels spinning and the rider sliding across the pavement. The howl of that two-stroke engine only added to the danger. Its sharp, intoxicating scream gave riders a false sense of invincibility, pushing them to chase speeds they weren't prepared for. In skilled hands, the RD350 was poetry in motion, a masterpiece of raw performance. In the hands of the unprepared, it became a widowmaker, a machine that demanded respect and punished arrogance without mercy. This duality, beauty and brutality, exhilaration and terror, is what gave the Black Widow its lasting place in motorcycling culture. It wasn't just a motorcycle, it was a test, a temptation, and a warning all rolled into one. By the late 1980s, the Black Widow's fate was sealed, not by lack of love from riders, but by forces far beyond the open road. Governments in Europe and the United States were tightening environmental and emissions regulations, and two-stroke engines, for all their explosive charm, had earned a reputation as dirty, polluting relics. Yamaha could innovate, refine, and polish, but no amount of engineering wizardry could make the RD350 clean enough to satisfy the new laws. In 1986 and 1987, production of the RD350 was quietly ended in most international markets. For a short while longer, it lingered on in countries like India and Brazil, where regulations were less strict and the hunger for its power still ran deep. But the writing was on the wall. The era of the two-stroke sport bike was coming to an end. What made the story bittersweet was the fact that the RD350 wasn't failing in showrooms. Riders still wanted it, still craved that rush, still respected the danger it carried. Its demise was not the result of poor sales or waning demand, but of legislation that simply left no room for a machine so raw, so unfiltered, so unapologetic. Today, that scarcity has only fueled its legend. Finding an RD350 in good condition is rare, and when one appears on the collector's market, the prices climb sky high. Owners don't just see it as a motorcycle, they see it as a piece of history, a symbol of freedom on two wheels, of speed and power from a bygone era, and of the danger that made it both feared and revered. Even decades later, the Black Widow still commands respect, a reminder of a time when motorcycles were wild, untamed, and unforgettable. The Yamaha RD350, the Black Widow, was never just a motorcycle. It was a symbol of an era when speed, power, and danger walked hand in hand. It thrilled riders, terrified others, and carved out a reputation that still echoes through motorcycling history. But what about you? What do you think of this two-stroke legend? Was it a dream machine or a widowmaker that claimed too many lives? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit like to support the channel. And be sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next journey into the machines that shaped history.